Out of curiosity, so I was talking with some friends about this on the street earlier, and what do you guys keep your house thermostat at? Is there like a nice little range you like?
In the winter, 66, and in the summer, 77.
I am far more aggressive than that. I think right now I've got it set for 68 to 72. And then in summer, 66 to 70 until we get overnight, in which case that drops significantly and I run the air conditioner like it's going out of style to make the house colder to sleep in. I tell myself it's okay because I put solar panels on. So, you know. Although so far we haven't actually had those like working over a summer. Something has always gone wrong. So I have them in winter. They were working today just fine in our, 11 hours a day, less than, whatever it is, 10 hours of daylight in fog and cloud. Like, cool. Thank you for the 75 watts you're producing. I appreciate you covering a few light bulbs. Yeah.
Supplementary. Interesting. Yeah, it seems like most of the people, well, like half the people were split on what you, Rob, and Cicely do, where it's just like the weather's going to do its thing. We're going to give it a degree or two here, a degree or two there. And the other half were like myself and Matt, where I'm going to bend temperature to my will.
Yes.
I don't care.
I have an auto-switching thermostat, so I can just set a temperature range that's comfortable, and it just takes care of it. Like, I have to turn it off and I have to switch it in spring and fall because I don't like the hour before it hits, everybody wakes up, like the air conditioner's running and then shuts off, and a minute later the heat comes on. Like, even I can't deal with that. Like that I can't do. I can't live with that.
Yeah.
We have to switch it so it only does one thing.
Right.
But the rest of the time, I just let it go. Cool if you need to, warm if you need to. Keep it somewhere inside this 4-degree range that I find comfortable. Weather be damned. I don't know. Some months I spend hundreds of dollars, some months I spend $10, and well, there it is. Keeping the economy going.
I mean, it's partially being frugal, but it's also like, I don't like too much of a temperature shock if I can help it.
Sure.
Like,
Working from home made a difference to me.
Okay, because if you're not really going a lot of places, yeah.
Yep.
I've got the same like threshold section where it's like if it drops below, turn on. If it goes above, turn on.
Mm-hmm.
And I switched it because it was fairly cold recently down here, and it was like in the 30s at night, which is not that cold in the grand scheme of things, but pretty cold for here.
It's plenty cold. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to kick it onto heat. I'm not going to do the threshold. Just give me full heat if it drops below X. And X was like 72 degrees. And I came upstairs because now today, for some reason, it was in the 80s. I came upstairs today, it was 83 degrees. I was like, ooh, gonna have to switch that back.
Change that. We've got a wildly effective fireplace in our living room on the first floor, which is neat when you want a wildly effective fireplace. But you leave that on and it'll heat that area to 75, 78, 80 degrees in like no time, not like minutes, but if you have that on for like an hour, it'll be 80 degrees in there, which when it's winter means it's like 3 below in the basement because the thermostat is up there.
That's why it's usually like 60 down here in the basement. Or if you put it on the floor, the thermometer says 55.
Yep.
Which, from the winter of 2020, I have still not recovered from.
Keep it 65 degrees everywhere in the house all year round. I'd probably do that. So I get cold.
In the interest of solving this problem, I have a floor heating system in the basement that draws like 7 kilowatts when it's on. And solves the problem.
You can get some electric socks. We have some electric socks.
I have electric socks.
I think they're really old and they take a 9-volt battery.
Fresh from 1963.
but
Electric
socks.
belonged
Yeah.
to his grandfather.
My grandpa received a lot of outdoorsman gifts.
I don't think he ever wore them.
No,
You have a
never.
battery pack on the side or something?
Yes,
That
There are more modern versions of it.
I'm sure there are.
yeah, you just can't. You can't run a heating element of any real utility off a 9-volt for very long. Like it's just not.
They probably
it's not a good way to generate heat.
but they probably sold a lot of socks.
Probably.
Specifically to people who were buying things for that guy that they know is an outdoorsman.
Yep. And I guess I wouldn't turn them down under certain circumstances. Like it'd be handy to be able to turn them on and just get a little bit of heat for a little bit of time. If I'm outside for long enough, it doesn't take much. Like
You mean unplugging them early?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see.
Oh, sorry, honey, I can't go outside. My socks don't reach.
Electra socks.
That box is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Electra socks.
That makes me wish I knew what happened to my old that
There's the battery
football
pack.
game where it vibrates.
The
I've
what?
never had one of those. There's an old, originally from the '60s, football board game
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah,
just
the-
vibrates, and you have your little dudes in their bases, and they're supposed to move according to something, but they never do. And you have your triple threat quarterback who can pass and run and kick, except he can't do any of these things.
Right. Well, he runs just as well as the linebackers.
Yes. Yeah. But that box makes me think of that and makes me wish I knew where it was.
But yeah, I keep
Electric
it-
football is a tabletop American game that uses metal
Cute.
vibrating field.
Well, hockey,
Yeah.
hunting,
Golfing.
golf, and fishing.
For whatever it is you dudes like to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
For that.
This reminds me of my husband. He loves
What is it that happens outside? Put that on the box.
We only need 4. Just pick 4. What the hell?
I wonder how golf
Johnson,
made
why are
the
we still
list.
talking about this? Pick 4.
Uh,
I wanted to pick yodeling.
Right.
It looks like the newer updated versions have they're like flush control panels on the side with little buttons. They must
My
run
son
off
was
like
an
a
electric
watch
cat.
battery or
Yeah,
something.
my coworker has
Oh.
one of those that runs off the Milwaukee Power Tools battery packs. So
Those are
you take
huge.
it off.
Charge them.
Yeah, you take it off of your screwdriver and plug it into your coat, and your coat's just hot.
sounds neat, except it sounds like a way for Milwaukee, or in my case, DeWalt, to sell more battery packs for like $130 each.
Yep.
A scam. The batteries
Yeah.
are crazy.
Yeah,
It was given to him by his son who works there. Like that's
Oh.
the only way you're getting
fair
it.
enough. And I like my wireless tools. I like my corded tools too, because
Yeah, for
I
certain.
like having 120 volts in my
Uh-huh.
drill. But plenty of times, this works just fine. But you ever go look for, it'd be handy to have a third battery? Oh, wait, no. No, it wouldn't. I can buy 2 more tools for that, and they'll each come with a battery. What are we even doing right now?
Yep.
Yeah, I think 2's plenty. Just have one charging, have one working, and change it out between all the tools.
Yep. I've got an
Makita
impact
did,
driver and a drill. And they take the same battery. I only need one of them at a time. I'm not two-fisting it.
I've inherited Makita from my dad as a brand, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really. But anyway, they switched from 12 volt to 18 volt, and I had like 3 12 volt batteries, a few tools running on 12 volt, and now you can't switch them out. So I have to buy new tools, new batteries, blah blah.
But now, you don't have to buy Makita.
blah. Exactly.
I mean, you can. It's a perfectly good tool brand. I'm not actually arguing to not. But they did not keep you locked in. The whole thing is supposed to be lock-in. Like, yeah, I've got DeWalt batteries, so I'm going to keep buying DeWalt tools because those are the batteries and chargers I have. Unless they change it. And now, I don't need to keep buying DeWalt, do I?
I presume, and I haven't tested this, but I presume that each brand has their own like fitting mechanism. So you
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Oh, 100%.
it's
I
like-
also haven't tested it, but I would bet everything I own that they do.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Katie, we might lose our house, but I will bet everything I own that you cannot take a DeWalt battery and put it on a Makita tool. Like, literally every cent I'm worth. Because if you could, they would not be able to charge $130 for a battery pack. Because I'll tell you what's not worth $130, the lithium-ion battery in that shit. Like, I can get that battery for a hell of a lot cheaper. I'm clearly paying for the connection.
It looks like there's a company that converts batteries. I just Googled, can you do this to that?
I was going to say, it's going to be similar to firearms, where there are going to be some like magazine manufacturers where like, what does this fit? Well, this fits these 6 hours and these Glocks and these Taurus, and yeah. Do they work well? How bad do you need it?
Jam it in there.
The battery at least should be easier because you just have to actually make contact. You could fit it with just some wires. So you just have to design a housing that slots into place and provide continuity, which, depending on the fly-by-night vendor you're getting these from, they may not do. Like, that may not succeed. Yeah. Anyhow, okay. Having wasted an initial hour, I will waste only 19 extra minutes. Before we dive back in. So note, among the things that I am discombobulated over is I skipped a page of my notes last time, which only matters for a couple things. When you were talking to Inspector Barrington, there are a couple pieces of information that he should have shared with you that I don't think he did. If I'm wrong, tell me so and I'll feel very proud of myself. But I'm pretty sure he didn't. He named two things. One, the Blue Pyramid Club in Soho. That appears to be a common destination, a common hangout for both resident and visiting Egyptian businessmen. Many of the victims of the Egyptian murders were seen to be at the club at one point or another. So he put it under surveillance, but before the police he had surveilling it could get much from the monitoring, they got pulled away to other cases. He also interviewed a bunch of people with various connections to Egypt, the vast majority of whom had little or nothing to say of value. But he did interview a spice dealer named Zara Shafiq, which I will put in the Foundry chat for spelling purposes. I should spell it right if I'm going to do that. She had worked with the Penhew Foundation in the past and recognized the name Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh, but like Gavigan, indicated that they no longer exist. It's a cult of ancient lineage that died out long ago. But Barrington was left with the impression that she was not telling him everything. He couldn't pin down what it was, and he couldn't get anything else out of her, but his cop instincts led him to believe that there was more there that she wasn't saying. He had her tailed for a few days, but all that he got from that was that she frequents the Blue Pyramid Club.
Jesus Christ, Matt, I have to buy voice-to-text software. I'm still on the Blue Pyramid Club.
Fair enough.
I can't type that fast.
I understand. And apologize. I should see if there's a way to do live transcripts. I know it can be done because Teams does it for me. Is there a way for me to do it, like, for me? An excellent question.
A lot of meetings where, someone's just having an AI something running that, auto transcribes everything.
Interviewed Zahara something. She worked for Penhew.
She had worked with Penhew in the past.
Can you pass me
In the
this?
past, recognized what name?
The Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh.
Did you tell us
That's come up a couple times.
Yeah, that's from that's from our talk with him when he said that was a death cult.
of the black. Okay. Worked with Penhew in the past. Recognized name. Brotherhood of Black Pharaoh. What was she was lying about something?
Not necessarily lying. But yeah, she recognized the name, said that it had been non-existent for centuries, possibly millennia. But Barrington came away with the impression that she wasn't sharing everything she had. That there was more information she could tell him, but she wasn't doing so. So he had her tailed, but all he got from that was she frequents the Blue Pyramid Club.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So yeah, that would have come out while you were talking to Inspector Barrington. Outside, the British exhibition, the British World Exhibition, I had it, the British Empire Exhibition, like a World's Fair, but for the British Empire. Because how much more British Empire could you possibly be than that? We could host the World's Fair, but we'll do better. We'll have the British Empire Exhibition.
Is like the world.
Is like World Fair.
I mean, all of the world that matters when you come right down to it. You know.
All the world that anybody wants.
Exactly. You can tell because we wanted it, so we took it.
What about the British Empire exhibition?
That was, you were at a cafe near the fairgrounds in Wembley when you were talking to Barrington. So it was kind of the backdrop for your conversation, the British Empire Exhibition, which is on right now. And it is basically a World's Fair, but for the British Empire. The world that, counts.
Which includes Egypt at this point, correct?
I don't know if they were formally...
Yeah, I don't think so.
it's among the countries that Great Britain would have exerted an enormous amount of political power over. I don't know if they were formally a colony or protectorate at this point.
I think that was before the war. I think stuff changed. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, Great Britain had a huge presence in Egypt, and
it looks like about 6 months ago, in game time, they became a constitutional monarchy.
Oh, there you go.
So pretty close.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still not formally a part of the British Empire anymore, but very much Britain exerting an outsized influence on how things run in Egypt. It is the white man's burden, after all.
Yes.
They're just doing what they're supposed to.
And who else is going to eat all those mummies?
That's right.
Exactly.
So is the exhibition sort of is it near where we are? Is it sprawling? Is it in a...
It's relatively contained. It's all at Wembley. It's not an enormous fairground. It's a very walkable sort of thing. Picture like about the size of a small theme park, basically. So not a huge area that you need to take trains across. It's not an Olympics, go from venue to venue kind of thing. It's in London. It's in Wembley. It's in London enough that nobody who would say that they're in London is terribly far from it. It's easy to get to. And it's certainly the biggest public-facing, at least, attraction going on right now. It's something of a big deal. On the same scale as a World's Fair would be. It's a thing that's going on. It's there. It's important. Well, important, its impact in the city and the interest people take in it. Its actual importance in a historical sense, a whole different question. But, it's like Summerfest.
Right.
It's there. It's a big deal. It's a thing that's happening. If you are in Milwaukee, you know about it. It's there. You may or may not want to go, but you can't not know it exists.
Might be cool to
That
check
was a terribly Wisconsin reference, Jake. I apologize. Summerfest is
Take your word for it.
Very noteworthy music festival. It's nationally noteworthy, but not top tier nationally noteworthy. but certainly regionally, like the biggest music festival within several hundred miles of Wisconsin at least. It's held in Milwaukee every year in summer.
And it goes for weeks, right?
Yep. Yeah, the British Empire exhibition ran from 1924 through 1925, basically.
Kind of a neat thing to check out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a Egyptology area and we could learn more about Egypt. Or at least, if we can have a foot chase or something and we go through there.
Now go over some priceless exhibitions.
Like, oh no, the sarcophagus, push it in someone's way.
The cream pies, no.
My cabbages. I mean, cream pies.
Yes.
There'll be a snake charmer, and we step in the basket. Ah! Push the snake.
All the clockwork comes out.
Boing. Yeah. Turban unwraps. So.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, you would have gotten that information from him. Though obviously, from just die rolls, but also even in game, he was very clear that there is more information about the case that he has, but is not inclined to just share with random dudes on street. Like, this is a police matter. I'm not giving you the case file.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, then if I recall correctly, you caught sight of someone who was apparently watching you while you were at the cafe, and you made your way back to the Savoy. So technically, you aren't just in London. You're at your hotel.
Well, so if we're doing the Egypt murders, I guess with the Penhew Foundation is another thing we had to do in London, and it seems to be somewhat connected.
Yeah, it's here.
I mean, connected to the Egyptian murders, and we were already going to come and look at that because that was also a contact for Elias. And who's the person, his contact, or the person he was, Gavigan, who he didn't like.
Right.
Or they didn't get along. So we're going to go into the Penhew Foundation looking for this Gavigan character who's probably, if Elias didn't like him, then we should be on guard because he's probably involved in cults. And so this lady, Zara, she worked with them.
Yeah, did you put that spelling somewhere?
Yeah, it's in the Foundry chat.
But yeah, looking into this Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh, which is death cults. Full moon stuff. Maybe? I put full moon question mark.
Yeah, I had a line of questioning to the investigator about when these murders took place and was trying to connect them to the same. Yeah. I don't remember if that was conclusive or not.
Why don't you give me a psychology roll?
Sure.
Nice. Yes, we will retroactively say you were paying attention as you failed your persuade check in spectacular fashion, as you are wont to do with lead investigators. You'd have come away with the impression that it wasn't so much that Barrington was hiding information or trying to be coy or anything else, as much as your civilians, he's running an investigation, and he sees a value in having things, details of the case that are not known to the public. And he was not inclined to share such details with you because it's useful to have things that he knows nobody outside the police has been made aware of.
Yeah, gotcha. And as of right now, do we know when the next full moon is, out of curiosity?
You absolutely could. I don't. Give me 1 second.
Is there a calendar tool in Foundry?
There isn't one built in that does everything you want it to do.
Gotcha.
So, well, that's not what I wanted. I haven't. Wow, this is apparently in Italian. Neat. Thank you, Internet.
Lois can read it.
There we go. All right. Yeah, so you were on board St. Celestine during the last full moon. The next full moon is March 24th. Oh, no it isn't. God damn it. Internet. What the shit? Good God. Yes, all right. Sorry, the next full moon will be March 10th, which is 2 weeks from now, give or take. I think it is right now the 24th. 4th? Yes, 24th of February.
Okay. And our intention was to keep with the Egyptian murders, but gather supporting information from the Foundation?
I think so.
And there's a meeting of the Foundation soon, or do we just go there and say, hey, what's going on?
Was there a meeting of the Foundation?
Sorry, I'm looking. Was there a meeting?
For the
No,
Foundation?
like, what's our method for
Yes.
contact?
Oh, we can call ahead if we want. We've got the information, but they don't know us. And they have an antagonistic relationship, I assume, with Jackson Elias, or it did. So maybe we shouldn't say that we know him or anything. I don't know. We could say that we're looking into the Egyptian murders, or we can go through this lady first, Zara.
So, I'm just keeping a list of stuff to do. We brought the crates of research to Mickey. We have not been to the Carlisle. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, my notes are all jacked up. Never mind, carry on.
Yeah, it looks like it says investigate the Carlisle, start with the Penhew Foundation. So that's going to tie our Carlisle perhaps into the Egyptian murders. At the very least, give us some relevant Carlisle information.
So we can either start there and just say, like, hey, we're investigators investigating either Carlisle stuff or Egyptian murder stuff or both. Or we can just stick to the Egyptian murders. But death cults is what brought them into Elias's target.
Death cults are bread and butter. Let's do it.
So what do you think? Should we try and find this lady first, or should we try and go right to the Foundation?
What time of day is it?
Right now, you met him in the afternoon, so it's going to be like late afternoon, very early evening back at the hotel. We'll say it's like 4 o'clock.
All right. Well, a club isn't 4 o'clock kind of stuff, so we can maybe do Penhew Foundation first because it's still business hours, and then go to the club to find Zara.
Unless Zara is like 80, then she might be at the club having dinner.
Having her or watercress salad.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good.
So, Blue Pyramid Club tonight.
Tonight.
All right. Should make sure we've got our nice new clothes on, do our hair.
It's the 20s. We should rouge our knees.
And we can always skip ahead in time if you want. If you're waiting for something to open and don't have anything else to do, we can just boop forward. We don't need to play through every minute of every day. So
I think, going to the club is probably a good place to start. Get a feel for the community.
Do that after we wash up and change into our nice new clothing.
Yes.
all right. Yeah, travel time to the hotel. Time to clean up, put on your clothes, get prepped for a night clubbing, 1925 style. We'll say you can probably gather up back in the lobby around 5:30 or so.
I want to stop and ask the concierge if there's any information he has on the club, what to expect, any persons of interest.
Absolutely, sir. The Blue Pyramid Club. I suppose the most important thing to know is that it is a private club. You will want to have an introduction, perhaps. Though, when he looks over at Denny in his new clothes and new credit rating, it is always possible that a membership could be acquired on site. At the moment, I myself do not have a membership. I can't speak to it directly, but do know it is a private club. If you are expecting a Cockney knees up, you won't find it there. The club opens at 6 p.m. on the dot. Were you to leave here now via London taxicab, you would likely be a little bit early, but wait about 15 minutes and you should be there shortly at or shortly after opening. Their clientele tends to be business people ranging up through visiting dignitaries on occasion. It's a reasonably upscale establishment. I see you've already dressed for the occasion. I expect you would be welcome there if you can find an entree to the club.
Good to know.
Well, let's see if we can get there early and see if Denny can schmooze his way in and then get everybody else in.
And if this doesn't work, we could always try and be friendly with the Pennyhue Foundation people. Maybe they can get us in too, because I'll bet they've got, if What's-Her-Face works with them, they might be able to get us in as guests or something.
Good idea.
In case this doesn't work. But we'd have to be and not go in there where's the death cults?
Right.
We do seem to wind up at clubs where we're sort of not welcome.
Well, yeah, why can't we go to a club where it's a bunch of pasty, dorky white people? We'll fit right in.
Half the clubs we've been to were part of the death cult, it seemed. Or at least housing them. Okay.
I suppose white people don't have death cults, they just have kombucha bars.
A different kind of death cult.
Yeah.
It's really slow acting.
Revenge is best served cold kind of death cult.
All right.
Right.
Get going, and then Denny
Denny will get
bribe who you need to bribe.
dropped off at the front. or near the front, and he'll walk in alone, I suppose, see if we can just cash our way in.
I mean, you should have a Dell on your arm. You have to look.
That's true.
Did Denny express? Did he like tell the group about the people following or the guy watching us?
Did Denny say something when he
Yeah,
spotted?
would he have said something?
Yeah.
All right, then the doctor's gonna be every time we travel from place to place, keep an eye out for someone staring a little bit too long.
All right, give me a spot hidden roll.
He should
You
be doing too, though.
Notice
Do
no one acting suspicious.
you want to be looking?
You start paying attention as you begin traveling towards Blue Pyramid Club, but you don't catch sight of certainly that person or anybody else who sort of trips your "this is interesting" kind of trigger.
Okay.
Are we just waiting in the car then?
Yeah. So Denny will exit the car, walk up around the corner, and approach.
So are you just keeping the cab there?
Oh, it's a cab,
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah, we're not waiting. Okay, we can all get out.
We can all get out, but Denny will go and see if there's a way to. If there's a person, not just a guy who's hanging around the front, but like the intention is to leverage the politeness of. I was going to see about getting entrance as a member before you had actual business going on because I don't want to intrude. That's the tack he's going to take.
Sure. All right. So the cab lets you out outside a door that's clearly marked as the Blue Pyramid Club. You can see some Egyptian theming on the outside, though it looks like, while this door is labeled Blue Pyramid Club, just inside it is a greengrocer's, along with, you can kind of see through the glass of the doors, what looks like a lift to presumably a higher floor, given the size of the building. It's reasonable to assume that you're looking at going to the second floor.
Right.
But at this point, you're looking at just a door into a small lobby. To the right, you can just go through an open doorway out to greengrocers, or there is a lift up and to your left.
Okay. And there's no one outside of the lift?
No.
Okay. Denny's going to go to the grocer first and say, I beg your pardon. I wanted to speak with someone about the Blue Pyramid, and I'm not sure who I would bother about that.
I'll tell you, ain't me. They don't hold truck with those of us what works for a living, do they? I don't know. See all sorts coming in and out of there. That's a lie, not all sorts. All sorts what has money in their pockets, let's say. Though, looks like you're not doing too shabby in that department yourself, if I do say so. Hope I don't give offense there.
Denny will nod and say, well, I paid some dues and I had some luck. And he'll scratch the side of his head that's missing an ear.
You know what, actually? Give me a... Give me a charm or persuade roll with a bonus die.
Charm.
Oh.
How do you do with the? Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it just skipped right to rolling.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Let's roll another d10 and we'll see if that brings it down far enough. Interesting.
No.
Fair enough. Yes. That's nice to meet. Nice to meet someone what's got some cash on hand who admits that there's some luck involved.
And he'll nod and say, yeah, and it doesn't leave my hand without good reason. And I do appreciate your time. And he'll give him, and he'll point to, I don't know what's in a greengrocer. Is it just food, or is it flowers and stuff, or?
Pretty much just food. It'll be mostly produce, a little bit of dairy. There's probably... we'll say there's also like a newsstand with papers and small packs of candy and whatnot. I have no idea if they had idiot buy aisles in 1925 in London, but we'll say there's a little rack of just stuff.
What's the smallest quantity of largest diameter carrots I can get?
You get a bundle of like 3 carrots that are some fat, nice carrots. The sort that were the British exhibition at the World's Fair would probably show up there.
Perfect. I'll take these.
Most excellent. That'll be tuppence, sir.
Give them
$1.
British money.
Yep.
And then I'll give them the smallest amount of leftover change. And
Oh. Thank you kindly, sir. Much appreciated. Have to say, you're a nicer sort than most would come through here looking for the Blue Pyramid Club.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them are foreigners, so you get what you get there. But not all of them, and even them would come from London town ain't the polite sort. Bit up their own asses, if you take my meaning, sir.
Denny will tap his temple with carrots and say, yeah, we'll see how long this foreigner lasts with him, I guess.
Well, best of luck to you. Buy my carrots anytime, sir. Hope to see you again.
Perfect. So he'll walk back out and give DVD 2 of the 3 carrots.
They're nice carrots.
Yeah.
Like, big, thick, turgid carrots.
So he'll be breaking the one that he keeps up into a fake gun size and put that in his pocket and say, I'm going to go up the elevator. Apparently there's nobody at the front door.
Sounds good. I'll be holding 2 carrots.
I picture you just standing outside, like one in each hand. Aye.
See, now you should have gotten the smallest carrots so you could put them in your lapel like a little flower.
And before going inside, you look at DVD and go, with the carrot, and then put it in his pocket.
He puts his carrots in the air.
Nice.
All right, we'll head in and crank the lever, push the button.
Sure. You push the call button, you hear a bring sound. And after a moment, you hear a and a lift rattles its way down to the floor you're on. They appear to have an automated lift system. There is no operator in the lift.
Great. Okay. Then he will walk into the lift and look for buttons.
Cool. So you slide the, what it's called, like accordion gate to the side, step into the lift, slide it back behind you. You've been on elevators in the States before. You understand pretty much how this works. And you see a panel on the side that's got a selector lever. It's a pretty boring selector lever insofar as it has 2 positions. It's on 1 right now. There's another one. Sorry, it's on G right now. There's another labeled 1.
All right. Let's try 1.
Ka-chunk. Lever goes up to 1.
Yeah.
You hear it. Ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. The elevator begins moving up. It's not as smooth as one might expect, or hope, for that matter. You briefly think about possible inventions to provide additional safety for elevators that go into free fall, but ridiculous. Who'd spend the money on that kind of thing? It eventually labors its way up a full story, and you find yourself looking out through that accordion door onto a small but plushly furnished lobby area. It's got some overstuffed leather easy chairs kind of in the corners. There's a low coffee table off to one side that's got a tasteful assortment of art magazines and books on it. It looks like on either far corner of a relatively small room, it's like maybe 10 feet deep and 15 feet across. Either of the far corners, there is in a large ceramic pot, a small palm tree was kind of sitting in them. Looks like they're healthy, though you have no idea where they get light in here, because as you're looking around, this is an enclosed space. There's no giant window streaming London sunshine in. But ahead of you, directly across the elevator, you see a pair of double doors of heavy, thick, obviously expensive wood. And just to your right of those, there is a gentleman standing behind a podium who sort of looks up at you as the elevator comes up. You can see he's a slender British gentleman, slick down hair with a side part, kind of hollow cheeks and a pencil mustache, who looks up as the elevator comes up and waits to see what you do.
Tenny will exit the elevator looking totally okay with how this elevator has been working, and strolls to the desk and says, "Good evening."
Good evening, sir. Is there something I can do to help you?
Denny will say, "I hope so. I intended to get here before you have opened. My intention is to see if my compatriots and we're a research group that works a great deal with, we've been doing some things in South America, and we've been looking at some Egyptian things, and I was looking for a place to bring my compatriots that wasn't just the run-of-the-mill normal place, and the Blue Pyramid did come up, and I wanted to know how one would become a member so that we wouldn't be crashing any sort of private party or anything of that sort."
Yes, well, this is an Egyptian club, and we do have many tapestries.
Yes.
Give me a credit rating roll.
Oh, and you just took out a mortgage.
I will spend
1.
Oh yeah, do we get any more points or something? Starting the game?
Yes. Sorry, I always forget top of the session. Roll a luck check, and if you fail, add 1d10 luck points.
And if you succeed, what do you do?
Nothing.
Okay.
You get no additional luck. I'm sort of splitting the difference between classic Call of Cthulhu rules and Pulp rules here.
Yeah.
In classic, you do not get more luck at the top of every session. That is not how it works. It's nowhere near that friendly. But in Pulp, you get 1d10 if you succeed and 2d10 if you fail, and either way you add 10 to it. Like, that is too much luck for the kind of game I'm trying to run. So I'm sort of splitting the difference.
Why are you rolling so much, Katie?
Oh, it wasn't letting me click the button, so I thought I was doing something wrong. So I was doing.
You got your first luck check was a failure, so just roll a d10 and add that to your luck points.
All right, because I was clicking luck and I was waiting for something to come up to like confirm how many.
That's the thing, is the confirmation window isn't coming up. I don't know what setting that is.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Where you can put in what you add
for
the difficult
anyone.
I saw movement, but I thought you guys were rolling. That was me. Sorry. Okay. So I failed. So I roll a d10.
Yep. One sec. I'm gonna see if there's a setting that changed to cover those.
8.
Nice.
10,
Nice.
Maximal luck. Okay.
Oh, that should be. Oh, I see. That's not it. Huh. I don't know why it's not prompting. Let me take a break in a few minutes. I will see if I can take a look and at least come up with some way to do this.
It must just be me because I was having the same problem last week.
No, because Rob also had that problem earlier. Which means
it was. I couldn't pop out my sheet, so I did not pop out my sheet this time.
Yep. It's not just you. For some reason, it's not prompting for changing the roll settings right now, and I don't know why not. Like I said, I'll see if I can find it. We're going to take a break in a couple minutes anyway. Right. You spent 1 luck to make that a success. The man sort of looks you over, takes in your clothing. Yes, well, I believe our membership rolls at present may be full, if I recall correctly. And you can see one hand slowly slides out and casually sits on top of the podium, palm up.
So Denny will say, well, that's unfortunate, but one thing that I've always come to expect is that, surprises always happen when you least expect it, and he'll slide, I don't know, what would be, I think, what would be an equivalent bribe in American money, which is going to be more in British money, so it's going to kind of overdo it a little. But...
Okay, so say if you're looking for a fairly nice bribe in American money to translate 1-to-1 to British, you'd probably slide him like a £1 note.
Yeah.
Thinking of it like a dollar bill, which is a significant, not like a huge amount, but a significant for doing nothing amount in America. But yeah, a pound sterling is a decent chunk here.
Yeah. And if you could check for me, I would appreciate it, just being a superstitious sport. Otherwise, I might come back tomorrow, or, it's likely that some of my friends I'll have to find something for them to do tonight, but if you could check.
With what is apparently an extreme success in a sleight of hand roll, the note vanishes before your very eyes. He says, yes, well, one never really expects all the members to show up on any given evening, does one? I suppose, as you sound, dare I say, and forgive me if I give offense, you sound as though you are from the United States, and therefore I don't expect you will be here every night for all time to come.
That is true.
I feel I can probably find a slot on the rolls for you. You mentioned some friends. How many do you believe would be accompanying you?
I have 3 other business.
Very good, very good.
I have 3 other business.
Business.
I have businesses with me.
Yes, well, I will note you down then with an allotment of 3 guests. May I have your name, sir?
My name is Denny. Denny McDermott.
Denny McDermott. Very good, very good. May I ask, do you have any relationship to the Northern Irish McDermotts?
Oh, well, if we did, I expect they asked us to leave many years ago.
Very amusing, sir. Jots something down in his book. Now, I'm afraid that we do not open the doors for another 10 minutes. And while that may seem a small amount, that is a rule that may not be bent for anyone, I'm afraid. But You may feel free to simply wait here for but a few more minutes or return at your convenience. You are now in the book, as they say. Simply give your name to me or whomever is managing the door whenever you return, and they will allow you into the club.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'll go round up the troops.
You are quite welcome, sir. Please enjoy your stay, and may you have fruitful research here at the Blue Pyramid Club.
And what was your name?
Tyler, sir.
Tyler. Tyler, you're a good man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And Denny will go get back in the elevator and close it and go to the other floor.
Ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. You actually find yourself looking for, is there a block and tackle in the corner you can just sort of lower yourself down? There isn't. It's an enclosed cage, but despite the noises and the fairly alarming rate and shuddering jerks it makes, it takes you safely down to the first floor. You open the cage door easily enough, come outside and find your friends. You see Dr. Von Doyster fondling a pair of carrots, and the others patiently waiting for your arrival.
Wonderful. Well, we've got a temporary membership, so we'll be able to come back in about 10 minutes.
Awesome.
Good job. You did like sweet talking, like you
Well, no. not so good.
using your charisma.
Nope, not so much.
Money.
Blooming.
That hurts more, but no.
Oh, you just threw money at him.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
you go. Yeah, that always.
You don't throw it in England, but yes.
Oh, fancy now.
Yes, they're very fancy.
Dennis.
So I'm listed as Denny in there. Try and take them down a peg. I just want to hear them say Denny.
Oh, I feel like the British would love that. They're always like, "Ooh, big cheerio, Denny and Bougie and Bumpy." I don't know. Everything's
Bumpy. A classic European.
They always have cute, funny little names.
Oh, I got dibs on Fanny.
I don't think that works here.
Oh, it does.
Oh,
It's
I know.
just different.
Yeah.
No, that's Australia, I think. I
No.
swear a fancy upper crust British woman's name is Fanny.
Yeah?
I don't think politely it is.
No, don't say Fanny to a British person.
Hmm.
It means something else. I mean,
And it's not quite see you next Tuesday, but not that far off.
Is it that bad?
No, it's not
No.
quite that bad, but it's
more like kitty cat.
Ah,
Yeah, that realm.
all right, then no. I will relinquish Fanny.
Hey, so you got 10 minutes to kill. Are we just gonna stand outside the door for 10 minutes, or what are we doing?
Okay, well, let's get our
Well-
story straight while we're just like hanging out. Maybe we're like shopping at the grocery.
Yeah, let's walk.
Like a
Let's
nice
walk
Brussels
around,
sprouts?
let's walk around a little.
Rutabaga?
Fondle some fruit.
What the exits look like, because he'll explain that this place is on the second floor. It looks like there isn't anything else above the second floor, certainly not for this elevator.
Maybe we can take a walk around the building, see if we can see any fire escapes or anything like that.
Sure.
Hopefully we don't have to jump off of one like we did that one time.
So you take a walk around the building, and you see that the Blue Pyramid Club does not, even aside from the greengrocer that is on the ground floor, they don't make up the entirety of the building. They're apparently one unit of a larger block of various commercial interests, office space. Looks like some flats for rent in the building. So it's a fairly long walk. Not quite the whole block, but like 2/3 of it. Then there's an alley cut that cuts across to the next street over. Excuse me. But you take a lap and sort of examine it, and it's hard to tell. Certainly, since you've never actually been through those doors, you don't know how much of the second floor the Blue Pyramid Club occupies. So it's pretty clearly not the whole thing. But in terms of exterior entrances on the ground floor, it looks like the main doors are the only one. There doesn't appear to be another ground floor way in or out. You see a variety of windows around the second story, though again, without knowing the extent or layout of the Blue Pyramid Club itself, you don't know if any of those open into the area of the club. But only a couple of them let out onto fire escapes. Most of them don't seem to. So you can't be sure what your other means of egress might be from the club itself.
Then are there adjacent fire escapes to jump to from the windows, maybe? Or
Maybe.
Giant pillow factories or anything like that nearby? That
There are no giant pillow factories. There does appear to be an all things combustible outlet downstairs.
okay.
Yeah, the spacing of the fire escapes, it looks like you'd have maybe a 50-50 shot of opening a window where you could feasibly swing over and plausibly grab a neighboring fire escape. And other windows where that'd be asking a bunch. I mean, if the building's burning down, probably worth a shot, not facially impossible, but it's going to be some acrobatics and some sheer strength to sort of fling yourself over and grab on and not just plummet. That said, it's 2 stories tall. If you were jumping off the roof, it'd be a 25-30 foot drop, which is certainly dangerous and doesn't speak well for your ankles, but isn't terribly likely to outright kill you.
Perfect.
Do we have confirmation that we're not being tailed right now? Or observed?
Confirmation's a very strong word.
It seemed unlikely.
Both DVD and Denny were looking. If you were paying attention, you would have seen that Denny appeared a bit more keen-eyed while looking for tails. And neither of them has said anything or seems to have noticed anybody suspicious.
Okay.
So we probably don't want to start any fights in there because it's not going to be easy to just get out of there. So, I mean, what do you think about trying to, come up with a story, act like we belong, don't go in there and be like, we're investigating murders.
No, I told them that we were researchers and had done things in South America.
Because they probably...
Egypt. We're just men about town and we're jet setters.
Because these days, a lot of rich people, they go down to Egypt or wherever, looking to, lead an expedition, meaning you hire a bunch of locals, have them dig up cool things, you get to take credit for it and feel real fancy about it and travel around on chairs that people carry around with.
Even the point of eating a mummy if you're not going to tell everyone you ate a mummy.
Right. So we can say that, we saw some cool, maybe we're experienced with some pyramids and, we struck it rich. Now maybe we're going to try and go to Egypt someday, but yeah. Let's just try and blend in with any of the other rich white people that they kind of see.
Well, I didn't want to scare you, but there are foreigners here too. Just so you know.
We're foreigners.
Foreigners, right?
I don't think he was talking about us.
We're foreigners with melanin.
Totally different.
Okay, so that's the plan. Good plan. Then, I guess we could take our break and then head into the club afterwards.
Adele, clearly a kook, so she's comfortable asking about just Egypt occult knowledge.
Right. The lady that always insists on coming with.
Yeah, the
band.
Culture vulture. You go and you are interested in others' cultures, so now they're mine. Tell me all about it. It's now my entire personality.
Is it appropriation? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Back when it was cool.
Yes.
Isn't she wearing like a whatever it was, like a dress turban?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
You are wearing a nice turban-style hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To go with your like billowy silk pantsuit, basically.
Yeah, I drew it. Yeah.
And probably wildly impractical shoes that shouldn't really be worn outdoors if we're on it.
Like the curl-toed harem shoes.
Yep.
All the rage.
Cool. we'll take our break for a few minutes here. Come back. We will. Well, I don't know what you'll do, but one possibility is you will make your way into the club.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
Oops. Apologies.
feel like a jaunty angle suit.
There we go. I have my turban hat.
Nice.
Have a tiger.
I do feel like you need some giant, like, Swami jewel right in the front.
I know. That's all I have of my tiger.
The tiger is pretty dope, though.
That's awesome, Kate. Shouldn't have taken a big bite of Land Jaeger.
Oh,
My last like Bavaria Land Jaeger from Christmas.
yeah.
So good. But it requires a lot of chewing.
Yes. I would sometimes leave them out on the counter to have them come up to room temperatures. They would like snap a little more when you bite into them.
I love that snap. Snap into a Slim Jim, please. Snap into a Land Jaeger.
Land Jaeger.
Natural Cation, baby.
So apparently, Netflix bought all the broadcast rights to the WWE?
Yeah,
Really?
for a massive amount of money.
Yeah, like $5 billion to be sole carrier of the WWE?
Yeah. It's
And
fine.
here I was thinking of dropping our subscription.
They'll cancel it after one season anyway.
Oh.
It's funny because it's true.
So what's the other one though? Is WWE even popular anymore, or is there?
Monday Night Raw.
I have no idea. This is an aspect of American culture I have zero knowledge of, really. Aside from like snap into a Slim Jim, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? And like
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3. And something about like Austin 11:17 or something.
Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant.
Yeah. And that time, Mankind to Hell in a Cell.
Sergeant Slaughter and G.I. Joe.
Seriously. You remember John, the guy I dated in college that dumped me at Rockfest? He would watch WWF, and so we'd like hang out in his dorm room watching wrestling. So I know a little more than I should about wrestlers.
Oh,
I'm
you
a big
remember,
fan of John.
you remember my boyfriend John also dubbed wrestling.
John's no good.
Nope.
Stay away. They'll dump you on the first day of a 3-day rock concert and leave smelly socks everywhere.
Yep. Although my sister married a wrestling fan and he's awesome.
And my middle name's John.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Super expensive to change it.
I have nothing in particular against wrestling. Like, okay, it's no better or sillier than half the entertainment I enjoy. I just can't get into it. I can't. I don't care. Like, it's just not for me. Like that's not my thing.
It's like soap operas. Like
Right.
a lot.
I also don't get into Downton Abbey. It's much the same thing. Like, yeah, it's fine. I don't want to watch it. So I don't.
It's not
I
even
love some
soap
Downton
operas.
Abbey.
It's just TV in general.
Right.
All TV is soap opera.
Katie, did you watch any of the Gilded Age yet? It's on my list because you're on mute. Katie, you're muted. Hello.
Was I on mute the whole time?
No.
For a while.
How did I get on mute? Oh, because like no, you were talking to me. That's weird. Oh yeah, Gilded Age. No, it's on HBO or one of those movie channels, right?
I'm not sure. I saw an ad for it and it's like, oh, by the creators of Downton Abbey, except for it's the 1920s. Like, oh, I feel like I should watch that for research purposes.
And
There you go. It's research.
One of those ladies.
Talk about the things I want for research.
One of the main characters of Deadwood is in it too, and I like her. Whatever that lady's name is.
Which one?
She played like
The Hoover?
the main love interest to Timothy Oliphant's character. The rich
Yeah.
white lady with
brunette.
the
Oh,
husband.
right, her. Not the whore.
Oh, no, no, the fancy lady.
Yeah.
She
I
gets the
remember.
fancy lady clothes.
Yeah, I liked her. I don't know what it is. Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, 1880s, not the 1920s. Never mind.
Same thing.
Speaking of the 1880s, 1925.
Edwardian.
Let me tell you about the 80s.
Because it was the 80s. Right. Jay, you've made a lap of the building that the Blue Pyramid Club is in. Are we just going to head up on the dot of 6? We're just going to head on in.
Yeah, we're not going to rush, but
Surveilling.
Not fashionably late.
not too fashionable. Yeah.
Plus,
Do
you
they
want to
have any-
observe who's going in and what they look like and if they're sketchy.
Yeah, if we go in at 6, I'm gonna verify that I can get in for 1, and 2, probably sit down and take a look at the literature they got there, see if anything has to do with stuff we're following along with. I highly doubt they have death cults or us, but
Secret decoder rings to the cult of the Black Pharaoh.
Keep a lookout for some like cool masks that look like, they have ritualistic purposes. Any tongues nailed to things.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah, so we could maybe go up the elevator, but hang out in that lobby area. Look at the palm tree that is growing very well in an enclosed place. Smoke some cigarettes, of course.
Obviously.
Egyptian cigarettes at that.
Ooh, and yeah, Lois is gonna get out her nice, long cigarette holder that she picked up somewhere.
Egyptian cigarettes that I assume are just long and black and really thin.
Yes. Looking very.
The smoke falls off them like this.
Exactly. Yep.
Has the clove.
Wait, like this?
No, that's the smoke that you blow out. Comes out like a tr- Do we want to do it cool where then I show up last after you guys have been hanging out in the lobby for a while, ignoring the guy?
Yep. Sure.
All right.
Make an entrance.
Cool. So the three of you head up. Alright. So you all pile into the elevator, and Denny gave you some warning, but you were not entirely prepared for the groans and creaks and pops that it makes. With 3 of you on it, you have no way of knowing this, but it's materially worse than it was when Denny was there. You can hear it struggling. Ka-chunk. Ka-chunk.
Can I just point out real quick? We were in the Savoy Hotel in New York City with this elevator, just so you know. It was hilarious. We need to split up to go up the
Should
elevator.
not put 4 people in that elevator, and you barely would fit because those elevators are
Yep.
Remember
Right.
that one in Istanbul?
Yes.
And that's it was like a 2-person.
Yes.
The luggage had to go up separately.
Yep.
So to put in perspective, is this a standard elevator for this type of establishment at this time, or is this unusually bad?
No such beast. There is no such thing as a standard elevator for anyone at this point.
This was built by Old Man McElevator.
Exactly.
So if I go into the nicest place and I go into a really crappy place with an elevator, am I going to be able to tell the difference, or is it just this is an elevator, it gets you up? Don't complain about the noises.
You'll be able to tell the difference between, at the very least, the nice elevator will have an elevator operator who will manage the elevator for you.
Okay.
And it just
There is no
adds,
operator on this one.
That one with no door on it. Remember that weird rooftop thing?
I thought that was the one you were talking about.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the one at the hotel. It was small, but the one that didn't have a door on it was terrifying.
Super exciting.
But if you went to a super upscale hotel that had its elevator installed 5 years ago, and went to a dump that had an elevator installed yesterday, the dump probably has a nicer elevator. Because it is so far from standardized at this point. It's what's there. It's not stairs, which is really all that most people care about. Like, I don't have to walk.
I also assume we're all crammed in there because they weren't very big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's not quite like shoulder to shoulder, but it's uncomfortably close. In a modern elevator, you would be doing weird things if you were standing this close to someone. Like, why are you here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You might as well be standing in the door facing into the elevator at this point. What are you doing?
Yeah. That's Tuesdays for me. Going up to the top floor. I'm going to the secretary's office. Where are you going?
Room.
Sir,
Awesome.
there are 3 people in this elevator. Get away from me.
Sir, this is the Wendy's. Yeah, so it creaks and groans, and at one point, you're pretty sure some chain somewhere slipped its gear. There was a loud chunk and no apparent movement. By the time you get to the top, it's leaning a little to one side. It's not quite level anymore. But it appears to be the only way up. So it works well enough for the well-heeled to get to their club, you guess.
Lois, does she think she knows what might be wrong with this? Like from a mechanical repair standpoint?
Mechanical repair roll. Maybe she does.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be certain without looking at the inner workings, the gubbins and whatnot. But you recognized a chain slipping its cog. There's a link that's been bent out potentially, or a gear missing a tooth. You can't tell without seeing it. You suspect that it's being drawn up by lines that are not evenly tightened on both sides. There's probably a loose bolt somewhere, so one line's a little bit slack. So it pulls up and then jerks and may leave it that little bit of tilt. And you never know. You can't hear it because the motor's at the top of the building, but it's not that far away. And yeah, that may need new brushes and or lubrication. It's not entirely clear. But you're reasonably confident that with a few hours and access, you could probably make this elevator work a lot better than it does.
Side quest.
Yeah.
I don't think this thing is safe. If we can find some stairs, that would be preferable on a trip down. Just letting you know, like, as we hold on going up.
On the other hand, perhaps the elevator will be a much faster way down.
Yeah.
Onto some bolts.
Faster.
9.8 meters per second per second.
That's right. Yeah, so you reach the first floor, slide the door open, you find yourself facing the same small lobby area that Denny told you about. Same palm trees, one in either of the opposite corners, a couple of very comfortable looking overstuffed leather chairs, coffee table with an array of, fart sniffing art books on it. Plush, obviously Middle Eastern carpet underfoot. Looks like it's been here for a little bit. It's got somewhere, but it hasn't reached the point of being shabby or run down yet. But clearly it's been here for a little bit. It's got wear marks on it. And you see the heavy fancy wood double doors and skinny mustache Tyler behind his podium.
Tyler.
Yeah, I think the doctor's intent is to just exit the elevator, immediately sit down in the foyer, and just scan through the whatever magazines or art documents they have to see if anything of this is relevant, if he could even tell.
Sure. So yeah, as you get out, make your way through the lobby, through the foyer, and the doctor goes to have a seat and begin perusing what's on the coffee table. You can sort of see Tyler looking around, waiting for someone to catch his eye, but none of you do. You're here for your own purposes, and he looks a little fidgety, but doesn't appear to be inclined to do anything and isn't saying anything. Let's see. Jake, give me a library use roll as you peruse the documents on the table.
Nice.
Nice. So you look at them, and there certainly is. There's a good percentage of them that are clearly just like popular mechanics, but for art snobs. Like, there's nothing groundbreaking here. They're talking about, they've got like the top 10 modern artists in London and that kind of crap, and there's nothing really striking about them. There are a couple books that appear to be legitimate works on fine art, and just flipping through them, they're better made of quality paper and better binding. They're full books, not just periodicals. But they appear to have selected Egyptian art that has some real character to it, the kind of thing you'd look at and be struck by. But most importantly, in here, you find a scrap of paper where somebody has apparently been writing down and then crossing out names.
Oh.
Most of them are hard to make out, but at the bottom, you see is just written Bartholomew Skylark, and there's ellipses, and then underneath, "This is the one!" exclamation point.
Okay. I will take note of that. Does it look like it's in reference to anything within the book, or is it just a piece of paper with somebody's thoughts on it?
Give me a psychology roll.
Sure.
So based on your library use, this doesn't appear to have anything to do with any of the works on the table. There doesn't, what you make out of the names, and certainly this Bartholomew Skylark, there's no resemblance to anything you see in the books. Looking at it, you're trying to derive what somebody was trying to do with this piece of paper, and it sort of dawns on you, given the sort of the jaunty, for lack of a better word, nature of the handwriting, it's not particularly firm, it isn't terribly intense. It's like somebody was doodling, but doodling with names. You think somebody might have been picking out a name for themselves.
Interesting. Okay. Awesome. I will make mental note of that and relay that to the group at the earliest possible convenience. And just wait for Denny to make his grand entrance so we can all culminate around him like, that's what we were waiting for.
Denny's going to ask that grocer if he knows of any other. He's going to walk up and say, if I ever seem fancy enough to refuse to use the stairs, you can put me down. That's. But is there, if we have to leave, if this thing falls apart, is there a different way we can leave the second floor? Do you know?
You ask him, and he looks at you and sort of chuckles. There's a reason you don't catch me up there, mate. Oh, front door it is. Elevator it is. I suppose there's windows up there if you fancy your chances of gravity.
Right. And he'll tap his temple again, like, well, it may come to that. We'll see. But I appreciate the help.
Well, good luck to you. Find yourself collapsed on the street. Sell you some fruit with some good vitamins for the healing.
Perfect. He'll then go to the elevator and ascend.
You repeat your earlier journey. It's a little less alarming this time, since you've now known of it to operate at least 3 times with no one dying. So probably you won't die this time either. As it creaks and chunks its way up, you see the floor down past you, albeit in a less smooth motion than that, and the rest of your group in the foyer. The doctor is looking at some of the literature that's on the table. Adele and Lois are looking at palm trees.
If there was any Egyptian art on the walls, Adele would explain the cultural significance to Lois, just so she knows the full mysticism involved.
Sure. Unfortunately, there isn't any real art on the walls, but the decor is clearly lifted from like Egyptian dwellings. You've got squared off scroll work and what to the uneducated might look like hieroglyphs, but are in fact just little pictures that look sort of Egyptian. So there's plenty for you to, talk about on the walls, but there aren't any actual pieces of anything like legitimate art in this foyer.
You check the British Museum.
Exactly.
Lois will look bored and smoke her cigarette.
So yeah, Denny, you get up there, open the door, walk out into the lobby, and Tyler looks up from the podium and tries to make eye contact with you. And as he sees you, you can see a certain relief is too strong a word, but the look of someone who has been waiting for a higher authority to take care of a problem that he does not want to deal with. And it looks to him, this is now your problem. These are your people, right?
Right. So Denny will walk in and say, "My friends, I'm so glad you're here." And he'll look over to Tyler and say, This is the four. Then he'll walk up to the podium.
Very good, Mr. McDermott. Welcome to the Blue Pyramid Club. Please make your way inside and enjoy your evening, sir.
Thank you very much.
Do the rest of you have hats or coats or other belongings you would like me to check?
I'll wear my turban, thank you.
Of course you will, ma'am.
No check.
Very good.
I'm all good.
If not, then by all means, please follow your friend and enjoy your evenings as well.
So we'll open both of the doors.
Cool.
Sometime.
See you.
Try it in slow motion.
You swing the broad doors open, and you see yourself looking down a hallway to either side. On each two sides of the hallway, there's a door on either side, about 2/3 of the way down. On the far end, there's another set of double doors.
That wasn't the big entrance. Strutted slow motion
In
down.
the bathroom.
Guess we'll throw open those doors as
Yeah,
well.
we'll walk in and close the doors behind us. And then Denny will walk up to the middle doors and see if they look like water closets or if they appear to be anything different.
They aren't labeled, but they do not look like facilities.
So it's a hallway with middle doors and double doors at the end.
Yep.
Might as well check out what one of these things are.
Yeah, if we're investigating, let's investigate.
Which one do you open first?
Left?
Sure.
Left.
You open the door on the left, and you find yourself looking into a room that looks like it probably is the length of the hallway. You look at the wall on your right, and it looks about the same distance as the double doors were, and the wall on your left is clearly right next to you. This looks like a coffee or tea room, an assortment of small tables. There's china set out on them already, pre-staged, two plate settings per table, just a saucer and a little china cup. And you can see in the center of each is tea light in a ceramic stand that clearly one is supposed to put a pot of water or coffee atop to stay warm.
Interesting. All right.
Denny will not enter that room.
Yeah.
A little too fancy.
Close the
Might
door.
break some.
Here for drinks, not tea.
That'll
Alright.
remind the doctor to take a little swig of something he has in his front pocket there.
Let's close that door and let's go see what's in the right hand.
Sure. You open the other door, and you see a room of the same size and shape as the one you just came from. It's essentially a mirror image, except the contents of this room differ. Rather than just the whole room being devoted to, in that case, a tea or coffee room, this room seems to be roughly split into two sort of portions in sort of a classic upper-class sitting room style. To your left, occupying about the 2/3 of the room on the left, are a pair of large, obviously fancy sofas with a coffee table between them, all sitting atop very nice, intricately patterned rug on the hardwood floor. There's an easy chair sort of positioned between them. All three of those kind of arranged around a large marblework fireplace in the wall, which has a fire roaring in it, though you can tell it was laid on relatively recently. Most of the logs have not burned down very much, and it's got that bright, just lit, full blaze fire going before it's had a chance to settle down into whatever it will be for the rest of the night. On the right-hand side of the room, there's another fancy rug thrown on the floor, but over here there are just a couple tables, couple chairs by the tables, but the centerpiece is a baby grand piano in the corner. It's cover propped, keyboard cover lifted off, but no one's sitting at it or doing anything else with it at this moment.
So fancy.
Also too fancy for me. Unless anybody's going in, I'll close that door as well. I just want to make sure we weren't missing like a coat room or something.
Or an office.
Adele wants to noodle on the piano quickly before exiting the room.
Noodle on the piano to your heart's content.
Just as a, hey, look, everyone, it's so fancy.
Very fancy. Let's see what's in the big doors. Maybe that's where all the fun is.
A hookah room.
So you go to the end of the hallway, open the large double doors there, which are essentially a twin of the ones at the entrance. They open out onto what is clearly the main gathering place for the club. It amounts to a large ballroom. Well, large for the size of this building and the footprint it appears to have. It's not large like Windsor Palace ballroom, but a large ballroom. On the far side opposite you is low but elevated stage. It's got footlights around. They're turned on. Sort of a curtain at the back. Arrayed around the outside of the room are more small tables with chairs, but the bulk of the room is empty, apparently intended as ballroom floor. To your left and against the wall you walked in is a long cherrywood bar. And see there's a man behind it sorting bottles, doing some small cleaning tasks that probably don't need to be done. But at this point, you and he are the only people in the room right now.
Is there any entertainment on the stage?
Not as yet.
Should we get a table so we can scope out whoever comes in the doors?
I think that's a good plan.
The bar is on the far side?
Near side, as you walk through the door, that's immediately to your left.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, if we get a table or near the bar, then we can just, as people come in, we can just cross-section view.
We don't know what this woman looks like, right? Or did the Detective Barrington describe her? So we know what we're looking for.
Just mentioned her as Egyptian and owning Empire Spices.
Oh, you didn't say that either.
No, yeah. Empire Spices?
Yes.
We will loudly talk about how great spices are. I am so rich, I really want to invest in the spice trade. If only.
It shouldn't be too hard once we're filled up, and granted she's here tonight, that in conversation you go, I was looking to get in touch with blah blah blah, and then find them. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
the doctor will go to the bar and with the goal of finding something better than this mid to low grade beverage he's got stored away.
Yeah, welcome to a country where it's legal to serve alcohol. So you go over to the bar, and the man behind the bar turns to face you, and he's a relatively short, sort of, not fat exactly, but kind of rounded. Looks like at one point he may have been a fire plug of a guy, but has let himself go a little bit. Obviously of Egyptian ancestry, possibly immigrated here from Egypt. Quite dark skin, dark hair, dark mustache, pristine white shirt and black trousers. Looks up at you and welcome to the Blue Pyramid Club. Can I get you something?
I don't even know any named beverages.
Specialty of the house.
Yeah, I'll take the house special.
Very good. Are you looking for a house special draft, a house special wine, or a house special cocktail?
I figure I'll be sampling all three tonight, but let's start with the draft.
Very good, sir. And he pulls out an Imperial pint glass. It's a nice glass. It's a cut crystal. It's got indents along the bottom and flares out towards the top. It's a very nice glass. Props it under tap on the far left and begins drawing beer into it. As I think you'll find this quite satisfactory, sir. We import this directly from Egypt. It's a very traditional brew. I'll caution you, it's more filling than you might expect. As the beer slowly fills the glass, and you're looking at it, and it's not fair to call it thick, except it's kind of thick. They say this is the beer that built the pyramids, It continues to drain slowly into the glass. I hope you don't mind me being too forward, sir, but I don't believe we've met before, and I thought I was familiar with all our members.
Oh, no. I'm here as a guest.
Guest of whom, may I ask?
Dennis McDermott, in fact.
Our newest member, yes. Yes, I've heard. Most excellent. Would that be him over there then, I assume?
It is.
Excellent. Well, I am Abdul Nawisha. I, in fact, own the establishment. Welcome. Please enjoy your stay with us. Please enjoy your beer. It's finally finished pouring. He closes the tap off and sets it down in front of you. And as he does, you can see it's got a thick, dense head of beigeish, brownish foam on top of it. And as you move it, it sloshes like beer, but it is slower. This is heavy. Please enjoy. And obviously, come to me if there's anything else you need.
Thank you, Mr. Marchette.
We'll be putting this on Mr. McDermott's tab, obviously, so enjoy.
Thank you. And I'll take a healthy swig of mystery beer.
And it's odd. Not unpleasant, but odd. It almost feels like you are drinking bread. Like, it's a beer. You can tell it's got a maltiness to it. It's got a hoppiness to it, but it's hearty. It's hearty like a stew, except in beer form. And as you're drinking this, like, yeah, this is damn near a meal, if we're honest. But it's good.
And I'll lift my glass a little bit, pay my compliments, and say it was great meeting him, and head back over to the group, sitting down at a table, presumably.
It's good meeting you, sir. If anybody else wants anything, please send them over. Returns to his just miscellaneous cleaning. You over there looking at it. It's clearly all been cleaned, but you can now tell as the proprietor he's not quite nervously, but perhaps more just habitually clean something.
And when I sit back down, I'll let the group know that that's in fact the owner, not just a barman.
Okay. Who's Abdul Navisha?
Nawisha. I will throw that in the Foundry chat as well.
I guess a cocktail sounds nice. Wasn't made in somebody's bathtub, I suppose. I wonder what an Egyptian cocktail is. All right, I'm gonna go see what that is.
Yeah. Adele will go over with Lois. As women, we can't go alone.
Obviously.
Yes. Chat them up.
So he looked at you. I says, ladies, welcome to the Blue Pyramid. Is there something I can make for you?
Yeah, we're gonna run up Denny's tab. Cocktails, if you please.
As you're standing here, you can see from a door along the back wall behind the stage, clearly an employee sort of door. A door opens and a couple obvious wait staff walk out and take up positions around the perimeter of the room. They kind of glance over at you, but you two are being served, and the doctor has a drink, so they don't immediately approach.
What do you recommend? I'm looking for something that's authentically Egyptian, but exciting and modern. Do you have anything like that?
Well, I should say so. Authentically Egyptian, definitely, but made with modern knowledge of spirits, let's say. He pulls out coupe glass, pulls out a bottle of some kind of white liquor, puts it on the bar, pulls out a brown bottle of some kind, pulls out a shaker, throws some ice in, bit of the white liquor, bit from the brown, pulls out some leaves, crushes them in a small cup, throws it in the shaker, shakes the whole thing, strains it out into the coupe glass, and sets it down in front of you. This is a very traditional Egyptian drink. Scholars disagree on when Egypt invented alcohol distillation, but it was certainly no later than the modern kingdom. And I believe if you are looking for an authentic Egyptian beverage, you should find this. You should find this to be exactly what you're looking for. This is primarily an anise liqueur mixed with some extracts of various native plants to Egypt and a blend of spices that I'm afraid is proprietary. It's my little spin on it, but I assure you they are all native spices to Egypt. Please enjoy.
It's paprika. Tastes it. Delightful.
It is something. There is rocket fuel in this glass.
It's my lord.
Lord, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, this is traditional ancient Egyptian distillation techniques, which means it was mashed last week and distilled yesterday. And there's a lot of flavor here too, and the flavor that you can pull out isn't bad. You can't recognize. There's some vaguely fruit characteristics. It's a little vegetal in there, and there's definitely the overlay of spices, sort of reminiscent of holiday spices, but with a bit more of a
allspice, cinnamon, clove.
Cardamom.
no,
Like a
No.
witch curse?
Wow, I have exact spice in mind, and I can't. Cardamom. That's what I'm looking for. Which is, it's a little jarring. It's not a flavor profile that you've been exposed to before, or certainly used to, but it's not unpleasant. But under it all is this powerful anise liqueur, which has been aged for at least 20 minutes.
Well, and she's sipping hers, and Lois would have said, like, I don't need the fan, just, pour the liquor. I'll just take that straight, whatever that is. And so she will have, without the flavors, I guess.
It tastes just like a
Very good, man. Pulls out Rock's glass and just pours a couple fingers of it in there for you, slides it over.
So we're both like,
enjoy.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, you've had literal revenuer seized moonshine smoother than this.
This is a beautiful club. We were hoping to mingle with some of the guests, enjoy the entertainment. When do things usually pick up around here?
I don't expect it will be too much longer. I admit you are a little earlier than our usual patrons. You're obviously welcome. Please, I don't mean anything by it. Simply an observation. I expect within the next half hour to see a few more people begin to sort of trickle in, and with another half hour after that, this will be quite crowded if the pass is anything to go by. Entertainment will begin in roughly 15 minutes. I'll be honest, I let my man handle the scheduling of the entertainment. It's not as punctual as one might like, but people do seem to like the shows, so we've made our peace with it.
This club is gorgeous. I can tell.
Well, thank you. I've put a lot of myself into it.
I can tell that the really fashionable people come here. Is there anyone, like, just between us, we should be on the lookout for, just to know who's important?
Give me a psychology roll.
Psychology. I'm gonna push it.
All right.
I was a little too overwhelmed with the cocktail.
Ma'am, I'm over here.
Yes.
But
This cocktail threw me off.
He pauses for a second, and you can tell that where before he was just chatting with people, very superficial. He's perfectly friendly, but he wasn't building a relationship. He's just talking to his customers, quite very pleasant, trying to be helpful. As you ask about people you should meet or noteworthy people, you can see he gets a little more guarded.
I thought he'd be like braggadocious.
But he doesn't make it obvious. It's fairly subtle, but you can see that he kind of tenses up just a little bit, and he doesn't answer quite as quickly. He looks at you and says, "You'll forgive my asking. I don't mean to give any offense, but it sounds like you're from the other side of the Atlantic. Am I right in that?"
Yes, I am.
I understand. Well, welcome. You couldn't have picked a better place to experience our fine country than you have. But I feel I should explain. We certainly do have refined clientele. We make sure of that, as your friend can attest. We had to ensure that he was of the sort who frequents our establishment. But you should also be aware that in this country there is a significant difference between the well-to-do, the successful merchants, businessmen, etc., and the landed nobility. I'm afraid if you are hoping to rub shoulders with those of noble, much less royal blood, we will be a disappointment to you. We cater to the newer upper class, as it were, those who have earned their way into their position rather than simply being born into the right sort of family.
I must have misspoke. Not interested in royalty at all.
Heck,
We
we're
were interested
yeah,
business deals.
that doesn't count for nothing.
I'm an author. My friend here is a noted engineer. We're looking for exciting, the movers and shakers.
Well, if it is commerce or industry in which you are interested, I am positive there will be some here tonight who would be useful acquaintances for you to make. I can't speak to who exactly will be here. I am never quite certain. But if you'll forgive me a moment of immodesty, when our establishment is full, you would be hard-pressed to throw a rock in the air and not hit someone of import to the world of commerce and the economy.
Any particularly eligible bachelors?
I'm afraid, ma'am, I couldn't possibly say. I can't imagine someone of your great beauty is looking for a bachelor. But to the extent you are, it's certainly none of my business.
Well, if anyone feels like they want some interesting conversation, please point them our direction.
Out of
Well,
curiosity,
sure, point you out.
are you wearing an engagement ring right now?
Probably. It's the 20s, man. Like, woo!
Because it was the 20s.
I just want to play up we're just here to have fun. Where are the important people at?
The 70s and the 40s.
Well, maybe if we could, would more people showing up, maybe you could, make an introduction or two if you're not too busy or new in town. We'd appreciate it. And if you ever need some help from us, I noticed your elevator could probably work. I could probably help you out with that. It's a
Give me a fast talk, persuade, or charm. Take a pick.
I got none of that. Persuade.
Does she get an extra die if she bats her eyelashes?
No.
Yeah, I guess charm.
It would be an appearance roll.
Appearance?
Well, I'll take that under advisement, but we have staff to take care of such problems for us. But thank you for your offer, and should we need additional expertise, I will certainly keep you in mind.
Right.
As far as making introductions, I will certainly share your presence with anyone you'd like, or if you'd like, I can simply let people know as seems appropriate. But as a private club, I'm afraid I try not to make a habit of forcing introductions between people unsolicited by at least one side. I can certainly make your presence known and share your details, and I suspect, out of simple curiosity if nothing else, again, no offense, but we don't see many from the American side of the ocean here. I suspect sheer curiosity will bring a few to your table, and as I mentioned to your friend, once we have a reasonable selection of clientele here, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who isn't of import in the world of industry or commerce.
Cheers. Drink some more of this and
then you go blind.
get right too close to it, or we're gonna have a fireball situation here.
He sort of looks at his hands, doesn't have anything, and raises his bar towel and
All right, let's go over to the guys and we'll mingle.
as you
With
begin making your way back to your table, you can see the curtain behind the stage begins to part, and about half a dozen women of obviously Egyptian descent, dressed in billowing, filmy pantaloons and I Dream of Jeannie brasiers, begin walking out onto the stage. A simple rhythmic melody punctuated by tambourines begins, presumably coming from somewhere backstage since you don't see any performers. And to the largely empty room, they begin making their way around the stage, each in turn taking the spotlight, though there isn't a literal spotlight, and beginning to do a belly dance.
Politely.
Yeah.
If they come around, I think you're supposed to tip them.
I've never
So
seen
far, none of them looks like they're really giving it their all. They realize that they are playing to basically no one, and half of the crowd is women, which does not normally mean a whole lot of money for them.
They're having a great time. Are you kidding?
I'm not saying that they're right, but they're making certain assumptions about the group. Normally, matched sets of men and women do not fund the belly dancer performance as much as unmatched sets of men. Nonetheless, they've begun the entertainment. The club is open, and they wouldn't want customers walking into a dead room.
The doctor will just sip on his beverage until guests arrive.
Cool. It doesn't take too much longer in real terms, but for those of you sitting nursing drinks, waiting for things to happen, the next 30 or so minutes does seem to drag out a little bit. Abdul is keeping an eye on you, not in a predatory, accusing way, but clearly just making sure that you're not looking for anything else. Various waitstaff are now circulating. Every 10 or so minutes, one of them will stop by the table and inquire if you need anything else. Sort of going through the motions. You're the only people in the room. Clearly, they don't need to be circulating around it, but they're establishing their pattern of work for the evening. But after that, what feels like a long 30 minutes, the doors open again, and you see the first new group arrive. You see a group of 3 gentlemen, all apparently of Egyptian extraction, walk in. They're talking to each other. You can see one of them starts laughing at something another one says. Sort of look around, catch sight of you on the one side, sort of give you a nod, not obviously of recognition, but just of, you're here, I'm here, this is a polite thing to do, sort of nod at you, and go find their way to a table on the other side of the room. One of the waiters makes sure he stops by their table next. He apparently takes an order and heads up to the bar to begin collecting drinks. It doesn't take too much longer for more groups to walk in. They come in mostly in groups of 2 and 3. There are a couple individuals, and one group of at least half a dozen people walks in, predominantly male, though not exclusively. About 2/3 ethnically Egyptian, with the remaining third apparently being just British Caucasian. And the place fills up reasonably quickly at that point. The dancers begin putting a little bit more into their dance, but they've already been up there for a bit. After another 15 minutes or so of that, they take a break from the stage, and you see a string quartet emerge from the back, begin setting up. Various cigars and pipes are lit. Smoke begins to rise into the air and pool towards the ceiling, and you can sort of smell it across the room. The background noise of people talking to each other ramps up until you find yourself in a fairly, not quite busy, but active, formal club scene. This is not a dance club. Again, you're not going to find the old Cockney knees up in here, but these are people enjoying their evening, enjoying their drinks, albeit in a somewhat stuffy British, probably more money than they deserve kind of way.
We want to find the lady, the spice lady.
Yeah.
Zara.
So, which anyone come in so that were women that might be?
Yeah, there are probably give or take 10 women in the room right now, amongst probably 30 men, not counting any of your party. Fairly scarce, but not unheard of. Of them, it's reasonably easy, you think, to eliminate 4 of them who just look like white British women, not really fitting the name of Zara Shafiq. But that still leaves a half dozen apparently Egyptian-looking women in a variety of dress at a variety of ages at a variety of tables.
How hard would it be to discern whether or not they're like arm candy versus they are the one? Like, first off, are there any of them that came in alone? Doubt it, but just to ask. Second off, if they came in with a group or a person, can you tell who is providing the power into that, like,
Sure.
that atmosphere?
None of them came in alone. There are a couple who came in with a group, however, and it's not immediately clear if they are alone in the group or with a group member necessarily. They're in a group. None of them, as far as you can tell, are arm candy. It seems like all the women here right now are here in their own right. The biggest divide you can see, aside from the obvious, is the Caucasian women are clearly more Soho than the others. We're a little early for beatnik exactly, but they're clearly art scene types. They are much more up Adele Street than many of the men here who are clearly men of business and international import. The more apparently Egyptian women all appear to be at least holding their own in the groups they're in. You don't note any of them that seem particularly retiring or deferring to anyone, though it also doesn't seem like any of them are really taking charge of their groups or tables.
Okay.
Are any of the Egyptian women dressed in Soho style or more traditional?
No, they all are. A few of them are more what you assume to be Egyptian traditional, but there are like 2 or 3 that are in what seems to be more traditional Egyptian dress. But the remaining 4 or 5 are wearing perfectly normal, modern European clothing for the 20s.
We weren't given any defining features, just a name.
Yep.
And spice. Empire spices. So, I don't know if we can talk up being interested in spices.
Oh, 100%. Adele will talk them up and be interested in spices. Hold my malort. One of the Egyptian ladies. Is there one that's in a larger group?
Yeah, there is a table of 8 people, one of whom is one of the Egyptian women. She's wearing just a modern European dress and hat. She looks to be in her mid-30s or so.
All right, so
And no one's like dancing or up or anything mingling
Not
yet?
yet. So far, the only music available is a string quartet, and they aren't playing anything particularly danceable. They appear to be playing last century's compositions.
Adele will approach.
Do it.
What?
So let's just go around being bold Americans, but
Yes. Oh yeah, Adele's
I'll
100%.
back you up, and I'm not going to talk because I'm really bad at that part of it.
Denny will attempt to emulate every big city lumber baron that he's ever heard of back in Minnesota.
Sure.
Sorry, Adele's going to approach the woman that's with the larger group and compliment something. Like, that's what a beautiful shawl. Is that authentic Egyptian? Is it's just so gorgeous.
She looks up at you in some surprise, but a little taken aback. Look, you just well, no, I'm afraid this piece is not itself Egyptian, though I do believe it was woven with Egyptian cotton.
That is
But
amazing.
no, I acquired this on High Street right here in London. Thank you, however. Your attire, may I say, quite unique and does seem to suit you.
Thank you. I am very much involved in higher energies and knowledge of spiritualism, and your aura is just gorgeous.
You've gone completely silent, and I have no idea what just happened.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I heard nothing after higher energies.
That's weird.
I heard her.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear anything between energies and just now.
I know. You get that a lot. Anyway, I saw your aura from across the bar, and I absolutely have to read your tarot cards. And Adele's going to bust out her tarot cards and just like put them in front of her and give her a very positive, charming reading while chatting.
She looks a bit taken aback, and the conversation at the rest of the table has died down as you sort of approached and just inserted yourself into the conversation. She looks, well, give me a charm roll. Give me a charm roll.
You need to insert in her tarot reading something about spices.
Let me try. I'm going to push that one.
Careful.
Oh. As you pull out your cards and you're beginning your pattern, she holds up a hand and says, I'm sorry. You must be new here. In this country, it's not polite to invite yourself to somebody else's table and engage in strange acts of apostasy and mysticism. If you could leave us alone, that would be appreciated.
I apologize. I didn't mean to cause offense. I was just so taken with you. Have a good night.
We do have that impression on the colonials. You enjoy yourself.
Hey, Adele, you should summon the spectral snake. Get her out of here.
I'll show her. Mysticism in my butt. Well, so like, it's alright. Oh, come on. Have a drink. Too good for them. And
Yes. I'm going to ask her about tagines and spices. I had a delicious tagine once. You know where I can get some more of that spice?
As you make your way away from the table, you notice that the dancers are now circulating among the crowd and are circulating amongst a chromosomally unique portion of the crowd primarily, are sidling up to the men, and it doesn't give you quite the impression of a brothel, certainly, but it's not quite entirely innocent, formal, upper crust British behavior either. There's a lot of skin and a lot of sitting on laps and whispering in ears and whatnot.
Well, Denny's immune to that, so.
If Lois and Adele could give me a spot hidden roll, please.
like that. or
So Adele,
I don't see nothing.
as you are recovering from your slight to your previous efforts to just be friendly with someone, you're not entirely certain what you could possibly take an offense at. You notice the behavior between the dancers and the men, and you are somewhat gratified as you see a gentleman, well, clearly not a gentleman, attempt to slide his arm around a dancer's waist and sort of grab her hip and pull her in. And before he can make it halfway through the move, an obvious bouncer you didn't even realize was in the room has appeared and just clamped down on his arm and has almost lifted him out of his seat. And you can see, not loudly, but intensely, is talking to him before letting him go and putting him back down as the dancer leaves. And he kind of turns back to his friends, sort of hunched in on himself, and he forces a laugh and tries to play it off as a boys will be boys kind of thing. But he was clearly hard shut down. Sorry, no, that was Adele and Lois both saw that. But Adele, you notice just a minute later, another gentleman at another table engaging in much the same behavior. And that same bouncer glances over, looks at what's going on, looks at her, looks at him, and seems to let it slide.
Does he like tarot cards? Is he at the table that we just got booted from?
No. This is a separate table on the other side of the room.
Maybe we're not going to have as much luck talking to guests, but maybe we should talk to the help or the dancers. Guys could talk to dancers. We could probably talk to waitresses. By the way, I sent a picture of basically this belly dancing like rooftop party club we went to in Istanbul that this is reminding me of. It's bad pictures because it's from like 2010 or something. But.
This is not dissimilar to what's going on here. The dress among the patrons is obviously different, but this is pretty much it. They started with a stage show, but that's now exactly what's going on. They're circulating amongst the
crowd, like, hey.
Exactly.
Something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly enough to make you or me kind of uncomfortable at a table, but not anything that's going to show. The name is going to show up and accuse them of selling sex or anything. They're just, it's selling flirting more than anything.
Right. I'm a pretty lady dancing near you. You should give me money. And
exactly. Nothing untoward seems to be happening beyond that. Aside from the guy you just saw, who he apparently got away with a quick grab, though it didn't turn into anything really inappropriate, but he pulled her down onto his lap and he's got his arm around her waist and has her kind of attached in a way that the other gentleman was not allowed to do.
Is it a table of all men?
Yes.
So of the 10 women, 4 were Caucasian, 6 were Egyptian, 1 has shut down Adele.
Yep.
They're snobs anyway. I want to talk to a waitress. So that there was wait staff.
Yep.
Waiters.
Doesn't take long at all to flag down a waitress.
Yeah.
Lady comes out. Yes. Can I get you something? I can get you bar service. There's a small kitchen in the back. I can provide some food if you'd like.
I'm good. I wonder. Maybe do you have any sort of whiskeys? I feel like I went a little overboard on trying to get this authentic Egyptian liquor, and I don't know if I could quite handle it. If you've got any sort of, Irish whiskey or something like that.
I believe you'll find you're a scant few hundred miles away from Ireland and Scotland. If it's whiskey you'd like, whiskey we can provide. What do you fancy?
Whatever you recommend, sweetheart.
For the Irish whiskey?
Sure, that sounds great.
I can absolutely do that.
And I'm gonna tip her whatever, like the equivalent of like $20, like a good tip to go on top of this. If you get I don't know if you've worked here for very long. We're kind of new in town. We don't know a lot of people, but we do know a friend who knows a friend who told us to look out for a lady, the Empire Spices lady, Zara Shafiq. If you get a chance, if you see her, if you could point her out to me, I'd really appreciate that. But if not, no worries. Just the whiskey would be great.
Give me a psychology roll.
Not good at that either.
She accepts the tip and smiles at you and says, thank you very much. I should note, we don't normally expect gratuity. I certainly appreciate it. But don't feel obligated.
I'm American and we love tipping.
Well, and I'm not going to turn it down, I admit, but I just felt I should let you know. We realize that customs differ depending on where you're from, and gratuities are not expected here, though they are always welcome if they can be afforded. I'll go fetch you that whiskey. Would you prefer it neat or on the rocks?
Neat, please.
Excellent. Just one moment. She walks away, goes to the bar, and she gets to the bar and see her talking to the bartender, Abdul, and as you're watching, you can see her turn her head and sort of look back in your direction before turning back to Abdul and continuing their conversation. It takes a moment before you see him pull out a glass and a bottle and decant some whiskey into a glass for you. She brings it back over to you, sets it down in front of you on a folded white napkin. Says, you were looking for Miss Shafiq. She's not here right now. I don't know if she'll be in tonight or not. It's roughly a coin toss on any given evening if she'll arrive. But if you'd like, I can point her out to you when she arrives.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, I'd appreciate that.
She
I
nods.
sip the whiskey, just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and this is quality whiskey. You have no idea what you just put on Denny's tab, but this is the good stuff. Even before Prohibition, it would have been difficult to get something quite this smooth back in any part of the United States you had been in.
All right.
And
Gives her a good like. Thank you so much.
the whole situation on the boat was of African descent, not Egyptian descent specifically. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it referenced like something happening at a large tree, and there were like sacrifices made, maybe. When we're on the boat over.
Yes, Sumerian.
Sumerian. Okay, so yeah, way back. Okay. The doctor will get up and he's making a point not to order from the waitresses, but to go directly to Abdul himself, to foster a bond and kind of show that, hey, you're the guy here. I'm gonna come to the guy and grab another beverage. This time a cocktail, something strong, something brown. Maybe after hearing the reviews, I'm not gonna say this out loud, but after hearing the reviews from my colleagues on what they had, maybe something with a little bit less spice involved.
You're looking for something strong and brown. That's Abdul.
Yikes. He nods. Very good, sir. I can do that. Pulls out a glass, throws a couple large ice cubes in it, pours a healthy pour of what smells to you like bourbon, adds a dash of some dark red syrup to it, spears cherry on a toothpick, drops it in, and hands it over to you. Simple, straightforward, delicious, and brown.
Thank you, sir. And make my way back to the table, but past the table, with the intention of finding a smaller group than 10, probably less than 4 if I can.
Sure.
And do the same exact thing that Adele did, just impose myself onto the group.
Just don't fuck up.
And hopefully not fuck up. But basically, as I'm walking past, attempt to listen into their conversation enough to be able to talk something relevant, and then mention my experience with far less carnage and far less mysticism involved. But
So the first table of 3 people you run across, the 3 people are all just British white dudes. 1 second. You good? Oh, you're fine. Stand.
No.
Oh, all right. Good kill.
I won't look.
What do you think I'm kneeling down for?
I don't know. I'm gonna be on camera. Good kill.
I don't like interrupting your game.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You Dutch?
So yeah, first one is just 3 white London dudes. I don't know if you want to try them or move on.
there are more Egyptian-looking men here, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully they're primarily. My parameters are pretty thin, so it might not be possible. But a group of less than 4, primarily Egyptian-looking.
Sure.
Egyptian descent.
You can find a table. It's kind of the long way around the room, but you can find a table of just 3 gentlemen, all of whom look to be late middle age or so, wearing standard European suits, but all of clearly Egyptian extraction. As you approach the table, you can't make out what they're saying. They appear to be speaking Egyptian.
Egyptians for speaking Egyptian.
But they're at a table that has several empty seats and are just having what sounds like, and by facial expression looks to be, a fairly pedestrian conversation.
Okay. I'll just sit down and say, "Evening, gentlemen. It's a great evening to be here. You know, I'm Dr. Michael von Doyster. Since you're here, I presume you have an interest in things ancient, etc." I'm trying to say things charismatically. Jake isn't saying them charismatically.
Sure. No, you don't.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They want their tarot cards read.
You're trying to charm your way in, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Then give me a charm roll.
Oh, hey, that was good.
Yeah, we have dice because you don't have to actually be charming to make this work.
Yeah, I want to basically introduce myself, say some charming things to, loosen the mood a bit, and then
Sure.
the ultimate goal here is to have conversations about Egypt, Africa, ancient societies, and things like
Sure. So, hello, alcohol, business.
that. Yes.
Right. Yeah, you make small talk with them for a little bit. They're a little put off at the outset as you just sort of sit at their table, but they seem to quickly warm to you. And you can bring the conversation around to whatever you feel like. Before I forget, again, I will note I actually have art for our friend the bartender, Abdul Nawisha.
Alrighty.
So yeah, we'll assume it's all couched in terms of bringing the conversation around, unless it's something really sensitive or whatnot. That charm roll will cover it. What in particular are you looking for?
I'll say something along the. What do you gentlemen know of ancient Sumeria?
So at first, their initial response as you bring it up seems a little bit guarded. You eventually gather that they're worried that to you, an American, there is little difference between ancient Sumeria and Egypt, and they're trying to decide whether or not they should be possibly offended or angry. But as you continue conversing, and it becomes clear that no, you're not saying Sumer when you mean Egypt. You mean ancient Sumer for very good reasons. Unfortunately, none of them are history experts. They've got some fairly common knowledge about it, perhaps a bit more than the average American or Londoner, because just from proximity to the civilization and archaeological digs about it. But they don't have anything that you weren't able to pick up from your research while looking for information about Thalek while trying not to rust away.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So that was meant to be like, I'm not just some American dickhead that has money.
Sure.
I've got some expertise, but I will switch the topic to the Egyptian murders. Seeing as how they are Egyptian, are they worried about it? What's going on? What's the word on the street?
Sure. Um, and as you bring it up, you have to be a little bit careful about it because it becomes clear that it's somewhat sensitive, um, a topic. But after a little bit, you do sort of glean that they're obviously aware it's a common topic of conversation, and yeah, there's some nervousness there. Though none of them are, if any of them are particularly personally afraid, none of them are willing to admit it. But they acknowledge that it's caused some concern. It's a noteworthy series of events, and while not all the victims have been Egyptian, most of them have been. And certainly it means that the average just Egyptian guy out here is starting to keep a little bit of an eye out.
Okay, interesting. And the last topic I'll attempt to bring up is Erica Carlisle, the Carlisle expedition. It made its way through Egypt. I don't expect these specific guys to have dealt with them, but do they know anything about it? Is there like a feeling warm or cold on the actual expedition itself?
Let's see.
Big of a deal it was.
Sure. So they're familiar with it. Certainly, at least as much as you'd expect from something that was a significant, newsworthy event, and one that potentially impinged on their cultural heritage. So they are. They're familiar with it. They don't appear to have any detailed knowledge beyond what was in the news reports, so they do have opinions. They were, two of them were quite hoping that there'd be some positive results, that there'd be some good findings to increase the sort of profile of Egyptology and Egypt as a modern nation. Through doing so, one of them's a bit more guarded, seems to be a bit more cynical towards the actual goals of the expedition, assuming that it was just one more way for Brits to go be imperial and take things from, local cultures. He doesn't say it in quite so many words. He's on British soil right now and clearly lives here, but was a little less optimistic as to what the ultimate goals of this was. But unfortunately, they don't seem to have any more information for you than you would have already gotten from the papers.
Then I'll inquire about what they do and see if they have any knowledge of the woman we're looking for. Like, have they conversed with her?
You mentioned Zara's name, and they all sort of nod. And one of them, the one who was a little bit guarded, says, "Yeah, I know Zara. She owns and runs Empire Spices, which is a bit of a godsend if, like me, you are constantly trying to find a taste of home in this strange European city where flavor appears to be a sin."
And have any of them conversed with her ever, and do they know if she will be in tonight?
The two who didn't speak up just kind of shake their heads, though they know who she is. They don't have anything more than that. The one who answered you is, I haven't spoken to her at length. I've passing acquaintance. I've stopped in her shop, and she comes here, I'd say roughly every other night or so. I've talked to her occasionally. I can't say I know her terribly well.
Okay. I'd ask where the shop is, just in case we want to actually go there to see her. And a quick descriptor of her to see, if she does walk in, we can identify her more easily.
Sure. He gives you the address of the shop. Easy enough. Gives you a quick description of her. Tall, slender, fine-featured, narrow face, And his voice kind of drops. He says, I'd go so far as to say perhaps a bit of an air of mystery about her.
Noted. And then I'll say a few more things and end the conversation and make my way back to the table.
Cool. So you make your way back to the table. Enough time has passed that you're seeing some people leave, some people come in. One particular group walks out, and you see another group walk in. And then immediately after them, a woman walks in. As she does, Lois, the waitress you ordered the whiskey from, stops by and says, "Oh, are you done with your drink, miss? Should I get you another one?"
Yeah, you do one more.
Most excellent. I'll do that. She looks at you, glances at the door, and says, by the way, I will note that the lady who just walked in is in fact Miss Shafiq." And she picks up your glass and the napkin it's on. As she does, she appears to stumble a little bit, and the glass tips over, and she spills a little bit on the napkin and the table of the dregs at the bottom of the glass. Give me a spot hidden roll.
Oh.
Nice. So she is taken aback. She quickly takes the napkin and puts it in the glass and looks at you and says, I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid this napkin's no good. Let me give you another one." And she sets a napkin down in front of you and she makes eye contact with you. You look down, you notice that the napkin is folded in half diagonally, kind of oddly. And she looks at you, I'll be right back with that drink. And she makes her way away from the table.
I grab it and use it to... yeah, a little bit of water splashed on me, and open it up and look at it. Not too obviously.
You open the napkin, and as you're opening it, you can see Zara walk in and begin making her way kind of around and through the room, sort of going between tables, saying a couple words to people here and there as she makes her way over to the bar. And anybody who's watching, give me a psychology roll quick. Is that an 8? Nice.
Very nice.
Yes, so, Doctor, you, having gotten her description, recognize this as Zara even before the waitress says something. You see Zara make her way over to the bar, and she's approaching Abdul, and for some reason, your eye is drawn away from her and towards Abdul, and you can see that as she's walking towards him, he goes from looking guarded to looking tense to looking downright frightened. His eyes are down, he's looking side to side, and he's refusing to meet her eyes as she walks up, though you don't see anything odd happening. She appears to be walking forward, walking towards him. He's beginning to say things. You can't hear them from here, but nothing odd seems to be happening, but Abdul looks terrified. Meanwhile, Lois, you unfold the napkin, are kind of watching this out of the corner of your eye. Look at the napkin, and scrawled on it in a shaky hand right across the fold are the words, "Meet me down the street near the arches at midnight." And
At midnight, got it.
And that is where we will leave it for the night.
Oh shit.
True.
Oh shit.
Wait, Lois's note says what? Meet me by...
Meet me down the street near the arches at midnight.
What's the time right now?
It's getting out towards like 8 o'clock.
Okay.
The club is in full swing, based on what the concierge probably told you, though I think I skipped it. Club will be open till 1 a.m. Open till 1 a.m. every night.
Alrighty.
You do?
Sketchy.
So next week we are here. Ooh, it's Groundhog Day next. Wow, already.
Cool. We'll do this session again then.
And Pathfinder then?
Yep.
Time? All right,
Awesome.
cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Have a good weekend.
Night.
Yep.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.